Father Gestai, Brother Deacons, Brother Acolyte, holy religious sisters, and holy people of God. In the first reading from the book of Genesis, we see that Adam and Eve were in a state of paradise. Imagine that, a state of paradise. All the food was provided, all their physical needs were met. But the most important thing was that they were able to have a relationship, personal relationship with God. Talk to Him, visit with Him, see Him face to face. That, my friends, is paradise. But then the devil came into the picture and tempted Adam and Eve to sin, and they fell into sin, which is disobedience to God. For we know that God had told them, you can eat of all of the trees, all of the fruit of the garden, except from one tree. And that's the one tree the devil tempted Eve and then Adam into eating. As a result of that original sin, we see that Adam and Eve became shamed when they were called by God. God called them, Adam, Adam, where are you? But he hid himself because he had sinned. He could no longer be in a direct relationship with God because of the obstacle that sin had caused. But God and His will be accomplished. He wanted to be in closeness, in a close personal relationship with us, His children. He wanted you and I to be able to approach Him and to call Him Abba, Abba, Daddy, Daddy. So close, so intimate does God want to be with us. Therefore, He promised, I will send you another. I will send you a Savior to reconcile you with me and to once again reestablish that relationship which sin had broken. And so in the fullness of time, God called a sinless one. God chose the Blessed Virgin Mary. From all the women, He chose Mary to be the mother of God, to begin a new creation established by reconciling all humanity back to the Father, in and through His beloved Son. And And in order for this new creation to take place, he had to choose a worthy instrument to be the mother of the Savior. And so, in 1854, Pope Pius IX declared infallibly the dogma of the Immaculate Conception. In this dogma, Pope Pius IX declared that in order that Mary be worthy to be the mother of God, she was preserved from all stain of original sin, in order that the Word, the eternal Word, might become flesh in her womb. And that's what we celebrate today, the beginning of the new creation, no longer ending in sin, shame, and death, but now the new creation, which began in a pure and holy, full of grace instrument, the Blessed Virgin Mary. The new creation, where the Son of God would become flesh and bring forth a right relationship with all of God's children, fulfilling God's holy will and purpose, which he had from the very beginning. So today's dogma of the Immaculate Conception of Mary in the womb of her mother, Anne, was established and declared infallibly by Pope Pius IX, 1854. And isn't it incredible? There was an apparition of Our Lady herself at Lourdes. Does anybody know that year? 1858. 4 years after the definitive proclamation of the Immaculate Conception. 4 years after the definitive proclamation of the Immaculate Conception of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Mary herself came to Bernadette Soubirous at Lourdes, France, 1858. And when asked, "What is your name, most beautiful lady?" the Immaculate Virgin Mary responded, "I am the Immaculate Conception," confirming the dogma proclaimed by Pope Pius IX 4 years earlier. This was one of the proofs that the apparition of Our Lady of Lourdes was authentic, because Bernadette was illiterate. She could not even read nor write, being a peasant woman living up in the mountains. So when she went and told the parish priest what the lady had called herself, the parish priest was aghast. For one, how did she even know of this dogma of faith? And secondly, how could she even have pronounced those big words, Immaculate Conception? Truly, the Mother of God herself had to have appeared to Bernadette, confirming the dogma of the Catholic faith. I love to reflect upon and join the two dogmas that the Catholic Church has concerning Mary. Today's feast day, Solemnity of the Immaculate Conception, and 100 years later, 1950, there was another dogma proclaimed concerning Mary by Pope Pius XII. And this dogma is the dogma of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary, body and soul, into heaven. Why are these two dogmas so intimately intertwined? Because it's very rational. If you think about it, if sin and death are consequences of original sin, and if the dogma of the Immaculate Conception proclaimed Mary preserved from all stain of original sin, then the question is, well then, did she have to die? Do you understand that? It's very logical. If she had no sin on her soul, did she have to die? The Church proclaims, does not define whether she died and then was assumed body and soul. So we don't know if she died or if she slept. But we do know that when the moment came for her to end her life on earth, she was taken up, body and soul, into heaven. The dogma that we celebrate on August the 15th, the dogma of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary, body and soul, into heaven. So truly, we have a wonderful gift of Jesus himself to each and every one of us, when from the cross, Jesus gave his beloved mother to the beloved disciple. Woman, there is your son. And to the disciple, there is your mother. And from that hour on, the disciple took Mary into his home. We, the disciples of the Lord today, may follow his good example and take Mary into our home and into our hearts, that we may always rejoice in this wonderful gift of Jesus himself.